One of liberalism's most favourite arguments, which they use all the time in their political debates, is the current year argument. And the way it's used is usually a liberal would react to an opposing, most likely conservative viewpoint by pointing out that it's the current year. And while this argument has been around for a long time, it became a meme because of its overuse by regime comedian John Oliver, usually taking the form of, "Come on, it's 2015. And he usually used it when responding to news or views which he deemed to be old-fashioned or out of date. Now, as it goes without saying, the current year meme is actually a logical fallacy. It has a more academic title called The Appeal to Novelty. And the main idea behind it is that humanity is constantly progressing, both technologically and intellectually, and thus the new ideas it comes up with are inevitably superior to older ideas. The same way a car designed in 2020 is superior to a car designed in 1950, an ideology developed in the 21st century is superior to that which belonged to the pre-modern era. When the leftists say it's 2015, what they are saying is that we have to follow the new political ideas over those rooted in traditionalism, religion, or simply the outdated philosophies. The fallacy says that new is good, old is bad, your ideas are old, my ideas are new. That's why it's most commonly used in response to conservative traditional views on gender, sex, or nationality. Because feminism, sexual liberation, and borderless globalism are supposedly the more recent ideology. So when we have Justin Trudeau responding to a question of why half his cabinet are women with the phrase, "because it's 2015", he's saying that I'm following the modern and new ideology of feminism, which calls for an at least 50% gender quota. And of course, this argument is mostly used by and for women, because women are more naturally inclined to want to be up to date with the trends compared to men, and are also more averse to being seen as old-fashioned. So how do we respond to this fallacy? Of course, there is no reason for us to accept that the more recent ideologies are superior to older ideologies, because ideologies are not a hard science. They're usually formed by individuals based on their experiences, preferences, and biases. And more often than not, they are developed by Ivory Tower intellectuals that have little actual experience with how humans actually work, which is why so many of these ideologies have disastrous consequences. So how do we respond to this fallacy? Simple. We just remind them that fascism, and particularly Nazism, is actually newer than socialism, communism, feminism, and liberalism. Most leftist and liberal ideologies were first introduced before the 20th century. Communism was developed in the 19th century, and first-wave feminism also started to grow in the late 19th century. Fascism and Nazism, on the other hand, were first introduced during the 1920s. So whenever leftists say that we have to do X because it's the current year, remind them that their ideology belongs to a time when people traveled around with horses and mules, while Nazism is actually the new modern ideology, belonging to the era of electricity and cars. And then see how they respond. Let them know that if we all have to follow an ideology because it's new, then we all have to become Nazis. Leave a comment and let us know what you think. Share this video if you liked it, and thank you all for watching. Goodbye.